Hello, everybody. Welcome to March 15th Embodied cooking class. Today we are going to be making shakshuka. If you're not familiar, this is sort of a beloved brunch dish. Tunisian in origin, but sort of just from that general part of the world. Traditionally, you would use ras el hanout and like certain kinds of peppers, but it's basically tomatoes and chilies, onion, sort of sauce with eggs cooked in it. It's an amazing sort of brunch dish and actually very simple. And we finish it with feta, some parsley. You could do cilantro. There's so many ways to kind of mix it up and make it your own. You can make it really spicy. You can make it very mild. Today we're going to be doing a pretty mild version. I'm going to be doing a pretty mild version because of what I have around. But it's a delight. And really healthy, fresh, delicious, crowd pleasing, all of those good things that we like and that are so kind of wonderful at this time of year, the sort of edge of winter to spring, this time, which is actually very, very difficult because we sense that winter is ending, but it really isn't yet. And most of us, I won't say everybody, I won't speak for everybody, but most of us really do want kind of the winter to end, to feel the sun on our skin and to kind of like feel the bounty of earth returning. So there's this eagerness and there's a sense of sort of like the last of the winter vegetable, that sense of like running out of patience, running out of food, all of that kind of stuff that traditionally comes with this time. So having something that is sort of delicious and fresh and yet still belly filling is really, really lovely. So with that said, let's bring our hands to heart center and set our intention for the class today. Okay, wonderful. And now let's do just a couple rounds of samavriti, the equal breath. So we'll be taking a deep, full breath in, counting sort of how long it takes us to get to the peak, pausing at the peak, and then releasing the equal count to the inhale. So inhale equal to exhale. That's what we're trying to do. And you can achieve that through a count. I'll maybe count us up to 3, maybe even 4 for this first round, and then I'll leave you to do a couple on your own. Okay, so samavriti. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can make that longer, shorter. I'll leave the next few rounds up to you. And really breathe deeply into your belly if you can, to your whole torso. Just feeling for where there's any tension, where our breath moves our body, maybe any discomfort, and just allowing it to be there, if it is. Just let the breath come in to do its job, its goodness. Trust it. Okay. I feel a little smoother. Let's begin. We are going to do what we do so frequently, we're going to cut an onion, and then we're going to cut a yellow bell pepper. I think the recipe I shared with you suggests Anaheim chilies, which I love, but they're not actually super available at this time of year. So I am using a bell pepper, which does not have any spice to it. And then I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm going to add a little bit of this Malaysian curry paste to mine just to add more flavor. And it's going to make it quite different. But I'm just experimenting because I feel like it. So this is what we're going to do. And it could be any kind of onion. I just prefer a red onion myself. And same with the pepper. Any kind of pepper will do. I'm peeling off the dry, papery skin of the onion. Just going to be kind of quiet, I sense today. We'll see. Who knows? Sometimes I do talk a lot, but be a little quieter today and just enjoy the sounds. Just invite you to do the same. Really bringing my attention to my breath. Just keeping up with that. Trying to breathe into everything. Accept the breath, not hold it as I do any movement. Pepper. I notice for me, I am holding my breath a little bit. Had a little bit of a, I don't know, just sort of an anxious tummy this morning. It's where I tend to feel my anxiety, my worries, my stomach. And so I notice that when I'm like that, I have this, it's basically tension in my tummy because it doesn't feel very good. So I'm trying to kind of protect it, I guess. And the way that I'm protecting it is sort of by tensing actually even against allowing the breath to get in there, which is counterproductive because the breath is a thing that will help move whatever it is that I'm experiencing through. So I'm trying to bring my awareness to that and just keep sort of consciously bringing my awareness back to my stomach and letting it just be released. Even if that feels sort of uncomfortable, which it does, you know, sort of for a moment, it makes it feel a little nauseous. And then there's this sort of release that I can feel in my body, sort of as tingles or warmth. It's a little hard to explain, but it's definitely a response. Peppers, peppers, peppers. Done, and now we're going to do a bunch of garlic. Let's see how big the cloves are. I'm just using my weight. You can see I'm like lifting myself up and pressing down to release the cloves here. It's not working too well. Oh, one of them is free. That's funny. And then so I'm going to sort of press on the side and then press down with my weight. And that breaks it, and suddenly your cloves release. Okay, let's do this many. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a baby one, 5. One. Oh, it smells really nice. I love the smell of garlic because I'm breaking the skin here as I chop off the end. So this is the technique we're learning. This chopping, it's probably one of the sort of biggest techniques, right? And it's really just about try to make things the same size. Just have the patience to get it done. And if things aren't the same size, there are other ways to compensate, like cooking things for a little bit longer. Okay, I'm just going to slice these. I'm not going to chop them really finely. I'm just going to do a thin slice on the garlic. And we do garlic quite a lot smaller kind of than our other vegetables because it is such a powerful flavor. And so we want just a smaller amount generally in each bite. Don't want it to completely overwhelm our senses. Unless that's what we're going for. It's a garlic soup. It's a really intensely garlicky flavor. And in this case, we for sure want it to be a major star of the party, but it's not the only one. It's part of an ensemble cast. Oh, yeah. Gorgeous. And then I also have a 28-ounce can, one of these big guys, of crushed tomatoes. And again, I believe the recipe crushed fire roasted, just because I felt like that really fits in with the shakshuka vibe. And I have them already crushed. I think Deb's recipe calls for them to be whole and then you crush them. Wonderful. Or even the diced is fine. All good. This is just a little bit faster. And sometimes it's nice to have them whole because then you get to really control the depth of flavor and all of this. All is good. We're not going to worry too much about doing it the exact specific way. We are learning lots of technique here. So I think we're good over here. I will chop some parsley at the end and some feta on top. And I'm bringing over my paprika and my cumin and a little bit of this curry paste, which I have decided to add in. So I'm going to bring that over to the stove. And then we're going to get things started in the pan. But first I'm going to move the camera. I apologize. I'm sure it's a little dizzying, but just look away for a moment, you know? Awesome. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to turn on the heat to medium. We're going to add, again, I think Deb's recipe calls for a substantial amount of oil. I don't actually think we need quite that much, but I am going to put a decent amount in here. I think it was like a quarter cup or something. I think that's a little much. I'm doing probably 2 tablespoons all in all. Actually, I have a little bit of ghee, which is butter with the milk solids skimmed off the top. So it has a sort of higher smoke point. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of that in for extra flavor here. I'm going to wait till it melts in with the oil and it's hot, and then we'll add the vegetables in. And I'm going to grab something to stir with over here. I'll bring over our tomatoes and our eggs for when we're ready. Lovely. So here we are, we're going to add the onion. Oh, we're not even sizzling yet, so I probably could leave it a little longer to warm up. It's sort of ideal always to add it when it's sizzling, but it doesn't, because sort of the vegetables, when they go directly into the oil, may soak it up more than like really use it to get brown and sort of mix it up and everything, but it doesn't make a colossal difference. And we're beginning to sizzle. We're on the verge. Here we go. So I will once again, I think, try to be a little quieter. And so we can just kind of have a bit of a day of focus on sound and subtler sounds. Adding some salt. I think about half a teaspoon or so here. Break up this piece that's not as well chopped. If you'd like, while you wait, we often do meditation, but I'm feeling this sort of neck stretch right now. And so just sort of grab your left ear with your right hand and just use the weight of your hand to pull your neck down. We're not going to force it, just gently create a weight We bring our other ear sort of closer to our shoulder. You feel it, the stretch in here. And you can deepen it by basically inhaling and squeezing your shoulder blades together. In and down, like an X shape between them. And you can feel the stretch in here and actually moving all the way through into the occiput. You can move your neck up, down, as you inhale and exhale. Let's release that side. And do the same on the other. Just getting into the right position. And then deepening by squeezing the shoulder blades down together. And breathe. Neck. Chin toward chest and chin toward the sky and ceiling. Release. Honestly, it sort of feels better, and it also feels like I'm more aware of the amount of tension that I have coming through here. This is sometimes our reality. So many of this, I know I'm not alone, carries so much tension in our neck and shoulders that it's just, you just got to keep doing it and accept where you're at. And know that every time you are doing it, releasing a little bit, you are doing something, even if it feels like it's this never-ending cycle. That we can never keep ahead of and all of that. It really is still doing something. Okay, that's great. So we're going to add in the garlic now. And give that a little stir. I'm going to add the paprika. Like a teaspoon. Could for sure do more than this. And a teaspoon of cumin. Oh, it smells amazing. And just for anyone new, we add the spices in at this point for a reason, because we want them to infuse with all the oil, and then that will carry the flavor throughout the dish. It will infuse into these vegetables and then anything we add on top. Whereas when you add spices at the end, there's a sort of lack of overall body. You can sort of taste them, but they're very sharp. They're not integrated. They're not a part of the party in the way that they are when you add them at the beginning. And it sounds subtle, but it's a huge difference actually in terms of like you would know it if I put a version of shakshuka where I added the spices at the end versus adding it at the beginning. You would for sure be able to taste the difference in the final dish. And even if we're not thinking about the final dish because we're doing embodied cooking and we're enjoying the process, we're learning to just experience and appreciate the process for what it is. The aroma that you get from adding them at this point is so worth it. So and when there's a good smell and you know it's doing something good, you can trust that. This is how we cook. This is how generations of people have cooked. This is how people cooked off in the woods. The use of our senses without books and other people to guide us, except maybe the previous generation who were always figuring it out themselves. Our senses are our greatest asset. I'm going to add this chili paste now. And this is completely my own addition, so we'll see. Looks like I'm doing 2 teaspoons. So really not a lot. This is full of chilies and I think shallots and more garlic. Oh, the sun just went behind a cloud. I'm going to turn on the light just so you can see it a bit better. Oh, yeah. And it's back. Oh, yeah. This smells very nice. You can see it's all juicy because we're using quite a bit of oil and it's releasing. But I think it's time. Might as well be. And what am I looking for here? Really looking for softening. Could go a little longer if you really wanted things to be very deeply flavored and sort of caramelized. You could go a little longer, let the onions get darker, let the peppers get darker. But I think it's okay now. And we're going to add in all this canned tomato. Really nice. I think there's a dish called eggs in hell, which is like the Italian-American, I think, version of this. It's a spicy tomato sauce with eggs. And so I might, I guess I can't really cover this right now, actually. I will cover it once we put the eggs in, but I'm going to just turn the heat down a little bit. So I don't end up spraying tomato. But so I'm going to let this cook for like 10 minutes. Actually, I'll just set a timer. And so we will do a 10-minute meditation. Then we'll add our eggs. Ba-doom. Okay. I'll invite you to sit or stand by the stove as I am, up to you. So whatever body part is touching the ground, with your sits bones, take a comfortable seat. Make sure you're very comfortable. You can sit for a few minutes. And bring your awareness to your breath. Be thinking a little bit about what we were doing earlier, about where you're feeling the breath in your body. Just anywhere you're feeling that tension, any resistance to the breath moving through, just release that. I didn't say it, but close your eyes now. And notice the gentle sounds of the bubbling. It's sort of outside of yourself. Any other sounds in the room? Just note them. Note that they all belong, that you are safe. And now you can leave them behind and go inward, following the breath, asking the breath to lead you where you need to go. And let's start with noticing the breath at our nostrils. And now noticing our breath in our nasal passage. Now noticing the breath as it sort of moves from the nasal passage down into the shaft behind it, down to the throat, meeting with the lung. And now notice the breath as it is in the lung itself. The whole lung, the very top to the very bottom. Allow yourself to feel that as much as possible. Not pressing or forcing it. If you don't feel much, that's okay. With every inhale, you can feel the sort of buoyant, upward moving energy as you become full. And as we exhale, there's a distinct downward moving energy towards release, letting go. Just focus on this beautiful balancing act that we do. Day in, day out, all day, every day. Just balance. Now just observe kind of natural lightness and ease that you've created. By bringing your awareness to your breath and then just allowing it to do the work that it naturally does to allow us to feel good. That underneath the tension holding is a sort of eternal good feeling. The feeling of aliveness. Our own vibration. And now send your focus, with eyes still closed, up to that space just in front of you. And give it all your attention and release all thought, starting now for 1 minute. And now slowly just allow your eyes to open. You're about to have a beep. Just be prepared for that. Not so gentle awakening. Okay. So our sauce is looking great. This could go for a few more minutes. Or you can leave it just like this. Wonderful. Now we're going to add our eggs in. And for this amount of sauce, you probably would want to cook 6 eggs. I'm just going to do 4 for myself today because I just don't need that much. And I'll have just extra sauce, which is fine by me. And so what I'm going to do is kind of make a little space. You don't have to do this. You can truly just do it right on top, but kind of like a little space. And then I'm going to just, simple as that, put the egg straight in there. 1. 2. 3. 4. And I'm going to sprinkle it with a little bit of salt. Sprinkle each of the eggs with salt, that is to say. Now I am going to cover it. Whoa. Ideally, you have a lid that fits properly. I'm going to set it for 5 minutes. I think we may need a little less than that. I'll probably check. But that is the amount I'm going to try. I'm going to get rid of this and grab a few things we need for finishing. So we have our parsley, we have our feta, and I'll get our bowl so I can show you what it looks like. We have a plate. It's all said and done. I'm just gonna take this. Is probably enough parsley, maybe a little bit more. You can really go to town with parsley if you like. Up to you. I have another plan for some of this parsley, so I'm not going to use too much. Grabbing my knife from earlier, I'm going to cut off these woodier stems. But the stems are fine. If you chop them fine, they're nice as well. They have this lovely grassiness. And this is flat leaf parsley, which is, I think many of us sort of grew up thinking of parsley as that curly stuff, and it does kind of have a strong and kind of unpleasant texture when it's raw. But flat leaf parsley is really nice. It just adds this lovely, refreshing, grassy, herbal, parsley-ish flavor to everything. And it's nice with all these strong, warm flavors we've got going on here. Okay, I'll get my feta. I'm just going to grab a small hunk here, maybe a little more than that. Woo. So salty. All this bubbling at the edge, and I can see some egg cooking here. Kind of curious to see where it's at. So, we're pretty far off still. Okay. Maybe move it a little more central and turn the heat up, so I'm not making y'all wait all day long. There we go. Yeah, just need to have this a little more centralized. This one was cooking a lot faster than the others. Again, that's just something you can notice and adjust. And you could serve this, you're gonna see it's gonna be very saucy and eggs. You could serve it with, pita would be wonderful, but also any kind of bread or any kind of, you have some couscous on the side, rice, anything like that would be lovely. Some kind of carbohydrate to soak it up and enjoy. A biscuit. Grab a spoon, a big spoon. To serve with. Fork too, for tasting and for tasting in here and on the plate. think we're gonna need a little bit longer, which is okay. And I can feel the energy and hear all the bubbling that's happening under here. It's happening. Wow. Okay, maybe not actually. Looks like we might be good. I think we just needed to create a more consistent heat. Yeah, this looks good. And so what I'm looking for is just that there's no, the white itself is all cooked. I don't want those, I don't want any see-through white. But I do personally really enjoy a runny yolk. So, and I can feel that one's still runny, that one's still runny, that one's still runny. So is that one. So that's great. And so now I turn off the heat. I'm going to crumble the feta in. Just all over. If someone didn't want to have feta, if someone didn't want to have parsley or any of these toppings, of course you could simply serve it to them as is and just do this on the individual bowls of the people who maybe do want that extra flavor. Of course. Doesn't that look lovely? My hands are gross. Okay, I'm gonna scoop up this egg for myself. With a little more of the sauce. Beautiful. And I don't have any bread with it right now, but that's okay. But okay, here we go. You see that? You have a lovely, slightly runny yolk. And again, you do you. Like, definitely make the egg the way, if you want it a little more hard cooked, go for it. If you don't quite make it, who cares? It is lovely. All of these things are so delicious together. Let's give it a taste. And see if I can taste that curry paste that I added. It's so hot. I fear I'm gonna burn my palate. It's still way too hot to eat, but tons of flavor in there. Tons of flavor, fantastic. I'm really happy with that. I think I'll leave you guys there. We have a beautiful dish. As you can see, really quite simple to make, really lovely, feeds a big group of people. Healthy, yummy. Hope you enjoy. As always, please let me know if you have any requests, and I will see you next time. Thank you.